Welcome to this week's webinar. Hope everybody had a great holiday. We'll be starting this year off with the dynamic change versus App Store update. So in today's webinar, we'll review which changes are immediate in your app, and then which changes require a new submission to the stores. So this is assuming that you have an app in the store already. So we'll be going over, what changes are dynamic and what are constitute as an App Store update. So next webinar, which is in 2 weeks on January 20th, is the knowledge base overview. So we'll be going over a high-level overview of our support center, kind of walking you through finding articles, video tutorials, how to submit a ticket, and things like that. So again, this week will be dynamic change versus App Store update. So with that being said, I'll hand over the webinar over to Tracy. She'll be doing it this week, so enjoy.
Thanks so much, Sonny. I hope everybody's doing well. I'm making the assumption that everybody can see my screen right now. If you can't, please say something in the chat window, and Tony will let me know that. So what we're going to do today is we're going to be talking about the dynamic changes versus the changes that require just a build for distribution, or in this case it would be like a publish button or an actual submission to the stores. I'm going to be using, I'm going to be displaying my phone screen here. You'll see I have two apps. They're the exact same app. One of them I just made a copy. This is our onboarding app that we're using here, and it's just a copy of it here so I can show you how it's sort of different between a test build and an enterprise build. So in the enterprise builds are going to work exactly the same way as builds that are live in the store. So for the copy for the webinar, I'm going to open this up, and you'll see this is the different steps that we take when we are building an app. So I'll say, okay, app ideas. So I go into the application here, and for test apps, you'll see my phone canvas here. This is my app idea. I've got some awesome examples here. And let's say I'm going to go into the idea gallery. It's my phone canvas here, my detail page. And you'll see, I say, okay, this is great. I want a download for Android to be above the download for iOS. So I can move these around, and you'll see here it's a test build. It's there. I go into awesome examples on my screen, into a page, sorry. And of course, I picked one that does not have links. Hold on. And you'll see here on my screen, the screen matches exactly. Now, if I were to go into the live app and make these same changes that I just made in my idea gallery here, my phone canvas, my detail page, and move these buttons around to put Android on top of iOS, and I go into my live app that I just made these changes on, you'll see that I don't have the changes yet. It's because when the app is pushed live, it's got a config file associated with it, so that these dynamic changes that you can make in a test build aren't going to be seen in the live version until I do a build for distribution. Now in this case, I don't have to publish this to the store because this is really just a publish button. This is the type of changes I say, okay, yeah, the layout, the color, these kind of changes are what I want made. So now that I've done a publish button, I come out, I just do a pull to refresh. Sorry, here you go. I come out, I do a pull to refresh, and I go into, let's see, where was I? here, and now you'll see on the screen here, I do have the Android button on top of the iOS button. Because on that pull to refresh, even though I haven't submitted this new app to the stores, it's gone out and gotten a new config and seen these changes. So when I am making a layout change, changing colors, moving stuff around on a build that is live in the stores, that is a type of change that's going to require a build for distribution. Again, and that's more like a publish button in this instance, where we're just kind of publishing these new changes and making them live. Now, dynamic changes, both in live apps and test apps, are when I add information to, like, the App Office in a Flex App block, or if you're pulling stuff in through an RSS feed or through the REST calls, all that information is dynamically able to change without having to do anything. So you'll see let me show you this on my phone. So in my idea gallery here, if I go into targeted health apps, you'll see I've got several different apps listed here. I want to add a new one to this. So I come into App Office and I add a new record. In this case, it's called HealthKeeper. And I need the download information. So the download URL for iOS is here. Sorry. Paste. And for Android, paste. MobileSmith app gallery URL. Okay. I want to upload a new image for it. And then the description here. Put it in the correct folder. This is a targeted health app. And now I save my edits. And you'll see it's here in my App Office. Now on my screen here, it's not appearing yet because I need to go back. I'm going to do a pull to refresh here. I go into my targeted health apps, and you'll see that the HealthKeeper is now appearing. Looks like it's going to take a minute to pull down the icon. But this is the type of dynamic change. A lot of times if I just stayed on the page, I may have said, well, I'm not seeing it. Just simply doing a pull to refresh, even if I had done the pull to refresh on this page, it's something that I would have seen. So in live apps, really those dynamic changes are just that, updating content to existing functionality. The build for distribution, like we just talked about, was for moving stuff around on the canvas. The other thing that I could do here is if I wanted to perhaps change the background color, I could change the background color and let's see, phone settings. No, sorry. If I wanted to change the background color, I could change the background color, and or it's the global text color. If I wanted to change that from here to say orange, anywhere where we saw or text that wasn't on an image that we hadn't, that was just using the global background text color, then a build for distribution would be required for that. And I talked about moving the images on the canvas and the layout of the canvas. So those, any kind of config files like that are what would be just a build for distribution. And again, you don't have to submit that to the stores. It's just clicking the button, and so that the next time that the user comes into the application and they, open it up, the application is going to go hit our server and say, yep, here's the new config file, and pull down those new changes to the layouts of the canvases. Now, if I want to make a change that requires a new submission to the stores, what I'm going to have to do is do just that. Any of those changes are any changes to the home canvas. The home canvas is something that cannot be changed without doing a submission to the stores. Additionally, if I want to add in new functionality that does not exist in the app, then I need to do a new submission to the stores. So I'm going to walk you through how we can do that in a live app without having it crash. Sometimes if you're adding in new functionality and you do a build for distribution, it has the potential to mess up the apps that are live in the stores. So in this instance, what I'm going to do is come to my step 1 here that we had seen where we saw the awesome examples. I'm going to add a button onto this that points to a new app block. So let's see, I'm going to add a new app block. I'm going to do this as just a list menu. And apply that. All right. So, let's take it. On this list menu on the phone canvas, I am just going to point to some app blocks that exist already. So, step 2, and just bring a text over and say configuration. Step 2, and done. I'll add one below this. Point this to step 3. Add a text field. Step 3, and done. So now, and I'm going to delete this. That one. All right, so now I've got a little bit of the list menu set up. I can go back to step 1 on the phone canvas. And I'm going to use my generic tools here to add a button, a text button that says, going to point to the list menu, and configuration will say additional steps. Okay, background color, let's make this green. Oops, sorry. Okay, so in this button, okay. So now I've got additional steps, and you'll see this. Now, if I were to go to my, let's see, and now to make this its new functionality, I'm going to do a build for distribution and do a build. Once this passes, now I'm going to go to my phone, and you'll see here my ideas. I've got additional steps, and it's crashing. Well, it didn't show it crashing, but there we go. So then it crashes. So what has happened is I've gone into my idea. The configuration says, okay, this is a new configuration. There's a button here that says additional steps, and I click on it, and my app crashes because it's that was a functionality that didn't exist before. So if a user is in the store and they see this now, they're going to say, okay, what do I do? It's crashing, and you don't want that. So I've done a build for distribution. I come back in to my phone canvas here, and I'm going to delete the button. I do another build for distribution. So now the functionality is in the app, but it's not pointing to a button, so that when I come back into my app, when I go into this, you'll see that my button here for the list menu is gone. So there's nothing I can do to click on that to make it crash. As soon as the build comes in, I will be able to install the new build onto my phone. So we're going to give that just a second. Let's see if this has come in. All right, so, yep. forget how many times I have clicked build for distribution now. So okay, so I am just installing this new build onto my phone. You'll see it's here installing on top of it. And this will go in. I've hit build for distribution a few times, so I'm not sure if, okay, so you'll see this doesn't have the functionality there. Now if I go back into the same app block, I can use my generic tools to drag a button over. Done. I see that it's there. I come back. I do another build for distribution. This is now publishing it to the live build, the build that had previously gone out that had the functionality in it. So now I should be able to, sorry. Okay, so now I've installed a build that has the functionality in it that's hidden. I've added it back in, done a build for distribution, and I come in to see my idea, and you'll see now I have the additional steps there, and it is crashing. So the build I've installed must not have been the latest. So in the essence of time, I know that everybody, we wanted to keep this to half an hour. As soon as that next build comes in that does have the functionality in it, if I can install that, that's how it would work. Given time, I want to make sure that I get a chance to get to your questions. And as you know, our build server takes probably, about 5 to 10 minutes to do a build, so I'm probably still waiting on the build to come through that has the actual new functionality in it. So, are there any questions that anybody has? Okay. So one of the questions is how am I displaying my phone on the screen? I'm using the QuickTime Recorder application on my Mac that is allowing me to display my phone. You just go through it and set it up to display your phone like you're going to do a new movie recording. On this latest build that came in, you'll see that I am able to get to the additional steps here now in my app block that I just installed. And if I wanted to hide those again, I can come to step 1 on the phone canvas and just remove that. And then do another build for distribution. So to recap, when you're doing adding new functionality into a live app in the store, you need to create functionality with all the pointers, do a build for distribution, remove all the pointers, do another build for distribution, that allows you to have a build that has the functionality in it that's not going to crash the app because there's no pointers to it. You submit that build to the stores. Once that build goes live, you go back into your app, you add back in all the pointers to the new functionality because it's in a build that's available. You click Build for Distribution again, and that will then enable the people who have installed the new version with the functionality that was hidden to then see the new functionality when they open up their app again.
So a question came in, is there a list of everything that constitutes a dynamic change versus App Store update? I'm working on a document, like on the knowledge base. I don't know if there is a complete list. We can always check the knowledge base and see what's on there. I am working on a list, but it's much more of a higher level of, you know, these are the type of changes. It's not going to be all-inclusive. Let's see. Changes. Oh, that would be why it hasn't found anything. Okay. Well, there we go. All right, so here are the second one is probably a good article to look at. App Store updates. This article here talks about what needs to be done for an App Store update, home canvas changes. Here you go. This is what I was talking about where you just do a rebuild, but you don't have to actually submit anything to the stores. And this is a little bit outdated as far as the screenshots go. And then App Canvas, dynamic in-app changes. So after you go over things, here's the items that would be updated. So these are, you'll see here, these are sort of some legacy app blocks, list CSV, custom RSS locations. Most of those have been added here into the Flex app block. And there is a RSS feed app block now. So any of those changes are going to be dynamic. So when you're adding data into existing functionality, it's a dynamic change, and that's really what the gist of it is. All right.
One more thing. The other things that are dynamic changes, once you have that menu list in there, you can add items on the menu list automatically as long as it's pointing to functionality that already existed in the application. If you're going to point it to new functionality, when they click on it, it's going to crash the app. Any other questions? Okay. So thank you very much for attending this webinar. It will be posted by probably end of day tomorrow on our webinar page. In 2 weeks, we're going to be talking about the knowledge base and opening up tickets and how that can help you. And that's always available to you 24/7. So when you can't sleep and it's 3 a.m. and you feel like playing in the mobile app, you can get help right away without having to wait for us to wake up. And if you have any ideas for webinars that you would like us to cover, we are very happy to take those ideas and turn them into a webinar. We want to hear from you as far as, you know, what are some of the spots that you'd like some more information on, what's kind of your stumbling blocks so that we can help get those cleared up for you as well as everybody else. If one person is having, you know, questions on how something works, it's probably a common concern. So we want to clear that up for everyone. So with that, any last questions? Going once? Going twice? All right, well, y'all have a lovely day. Thanks so much, and we'll talk to you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.